Luther Vandross with Never Too Much. You're listening to the Social Impact Show with me, Samm Marshall. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. You know this journey that we're on together? Mondays to Fridays, we talk to the brightest minds, the most amazing people that are obsessed with how to change the lives of others. That's what they do. That's what they eat. That's what they sleep. That's how they orchestrate their day. It's about helping others. And yesterday I went to Pizza Hut's LeadHERship program. It was everything you think a program should be. Bunch of enthusiastic young people, an energetic GM, talking to them about leveraging opportunities, talking to them about how any opportunity you create, any opportunity you're given, it takes a form of ownership and action in order to be able to derive the best value out of it. And then I got to meet, she was also the host, probably a former TV presenter. Because I don't know how many head of brands host events where they look like they're the MC, and they also have that Bunang Mateba thing, and they present, That's what Ri did yesterday. Rirhandzu Manganye is the head of brand marketing for Pizza Hut, Turkey, Germany, and South Africa, and the de facto host of Pizza Hut at all their events. Ri, good morning, and thank you for joining me.
Good morning.
No, you did come across like a Bunang Mateba vibe. You were stylish and you got the crowd going, and it was like, it looked like a masterclass in MCing. So I don't know when you took MC lessons on the side, right? Okay, we're in the middle of Women's Month. You invite 60 young people with hopes and dreams. You invite them into Pizza Hut. Why?
So we have a program called LeadHERship. And in terms of where this program comes from, is that our holding company, which is Yum, had initially sent out, I would say, potentially a brief to the different brand teams to say, what is the social purpose that you want to go after? However, in part of that brief, it was more about what impact will allow more people to have a seat at the table. And so for Pizza Hut, it translates as an equal slice for everyone. So this looks different for the different Pizza Huts around the world, depending on what is the, I'll say, social need for the specific market. But for Pizza Hut South Africa, for us, it was about supporting young females because the unemployment rate is so high, especially for the youth and even more so for young females. And so we brought them in because they are then part of this LeadHERship program, which essentially funds the internships for these young women. For them to have internships, it allows them to have work experience, which then makes them a little bit more employable.
Yeah. One of the things I asked you yesterday, I asked you about making sure that programs go on well after the people that are passionate about them leave and exit. And something cool you said yesterday is I actually found this program here. This program has been around for like 30 years. Or I think you said the social impact of the organization has been around for 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's 30 years of making impact, 30 years of thinking about how we can change the lives of others. What I was fascinated about Ri yesterday is that I never thought of Pizza Hut as an organization. And and it's not just me. I think the 288,000 people that are part of this radio community, we look at a brand, and unless we do the work, we don't actually know how committed they are to communities. Do you find that as well as head of brand?
I do find that because I'll say at the start of when corporate social responsibility started becoming something important for businesses, I think a lot of people didn't know how to integrate it, how to talk about it. Yes, we're making an impact, but you also need to be cautious about it's not necessarily about punting the brand so much, but the focus really is on how are you helping the community. So I think there has been a lot of strides in terms of how other corporates have elevated that, but there is still some room for some improvement in terms of how we bring it about. But for me, key, it's about how do you focus on that specific initiative more than you do about punting the brand.
Yeah. Look, our mission is very simple on this show. Mondays to Fridays, our mission is we elevate people that want to make social impact. We only do good news stories. So somebody will go, yeah, Pizza Hut, blah, blah, blah. But we really, there's other media can talk to you about the other challenges that you face from an environment perspective. The thing that blew me away was, and I've seen this before in other organizations, My Way has a similar program that they do every year with their EVP program, and I was fortunate enough to sit down. But I love this idea that mentorship is not an external thing. Let's go and find 17 influencers and let's bring them into the organization and we'll pair them up. Your philosophy, similar to what My Way does and Old Mutual does to a degree, and even Standard Bank, is the mentors come from internal. They are staff. Sun International does it as well with a big career day. The staff are the mentors. The staff make the time. They were there in their numbers yesterday. It wasn't just you and then another person from PR. The entire team was there. And I love that relationship connection to a focus area, a challenge area that you've identified, but the staff rolling up their sleeves and getting involved.
So for us, it was also quite important to elevate the initiative within the business because you'll find people know about the initiative, but they don't really know.
Yeah.
Others are potentially not aware of the impact that they can make. And so we had decided to then have some mentors that are part of the business, as you had mentioned. Essentially, this helps them to be more involved with the program, also have an opportunity to give back. It's simple things because I think where the young ladies are at the moment, it's about helping them with CVs. I mean, if we're employed, that's something we can help with. How do we help them with interview skills? How do we help them with how do they elevate themselves? How do they build confidence? So it really is about an opportunity for the staff, not only to know about the program, but also have an opportunity to give back.
Yeah. I don't think after you listen to this conversation, you would look at a Pizza Hut the same way, right? Because I think that is really what you want. You want people to understand that you're not just buying a pizza, but you're actually impacting the community. You guys have had, since the launch of this project, since 2022, 109 young women have been empowered, 35 securing full-time employment. And what we are forgetting is that 109 families.
Yeah.
That is 35 families that now can fend for themselves, be able to bring an income into that family, change the lives of those family members by one person being employed. Yesterday we had a chat to Tsegofatso,
Yes.
who comes from a small community, comes to Johannesburg for the first time, and I think what she did yesterday quite eloquently was talk to these 60 young women about the challenges they face of, and what is one of the worst things, getting a degree but not finding work and being unemployed for years.
Yeah.
And I love that, the fact that through this program, I can't imagine being a young person and not being employed for 3 years, sitting at home for 3 years, frustrated for 3 years.
Because the unfortunate thing is that you find that you can't find a job because you don't have experience, and you don't have experience.
That unfortunate
because you
conundrum
can't
that we
find
find
a
ourselves,
job.
yeah.
So I think that's the bridge that we're trying to close with, making sure that there are those opportunities for employment, which then makes the ladies even more employable. I think when I take it back to myself and think about the people that have given me a chance, because they gave me a chance, I get to be where I am today. And so how
I think you had a similar story, right?
in terms of
In terms of the
having,
Tsegofatso story and being through the program. But there was somebody on the panel who had another story. Somebody,
Yes.
it wasn't you, sorry.
Yes, so we had, so with the panelists that come, we have people that are already on the program, and then
Yes.
we also have people that have
Yes,
graduated from the
yeah.
program.
Sorry, you look as young as they do, so I just mistook your story for their story as well. Because I don't know,
I'll take it,
you
I'll
can't
take it.
see it, but Ree looks 12. She looks 12 years old.
I'll take
That's
it.
how young
I'll
she
take
looks.
it.
This program happens in Women's Month. The theme this year is Accelerate Action. It's a big theme. How do you internalize that as an organization?
So interestingly enough, we also have another program which is about achieving breakthrough results. And there's different cards that people will get, and it will teach them some sort of a lesson. One of those cards is about action versus activity. So activity, you're doing stuff. Action, you're getting things done. And so with this theme of accelerating action, we then translated that into having a growth mindset, which was the theme of
Yes, I was about to say that. That was your theme yesterday.
Yes, that was the theme of our Empower Her session. Now, with that growth mindset, it's essentially about driving action. You need to open yourself up to opportunities. You need to be uncomfortable. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable so that you are exposed. The more you expose yourself to certain things is the more you're exposing yourself to a lot more opportunities. So that's how we translated how to drive action within the LeadHERship space.
But it's also at the same time, and I think this was articulated by the GM yesterday when he talked about, and I think in many ways, even though there was a small community at the head office, I think it's the challenge that we kind of face from a South African perspective, is that there are opportunities. You've got to find them, and you can have all the goodwill in the world, but if you don't have young people looking for those opportunities, and once they get them, action them.
Yeah.
Be actively involved in driving those engagements. It doesn't matter how many projects you put up. It doesn't matter how many engagements you put up. If they don't understand that it's almost not even a 50-50 partnership. You've almost got to do more than the partnership. You won't have success. And that, I think, he illustrated quite eloquently when he opened up the discussion.
100%. I think a lot of people potentially, or let me say young people, sometimes they'll hear the word mentor. It sounds nice, but they're not sure what that exactly means or what role they play in that relationship. So I think we really wanted to emphasize to the ladies that as a mentee, it's really important for you to drive that relationship with your mentor, because they will help unlock certain things, but it really is up to you to drive it. And there was really a lot of emphasis on that. It's almost like we're giving someone a car, but they need fuel.
They still need to maintain it.
They need to maintain it. They need the car keys. They need to know how to drive. You can't do that for someone. And so, yes, you want to get to point A, B, and C, but you essentially need to put in the work to get there. We may give you the instrument, but you need to use the tools to get there.
One of the other things I didn't know, and yet again, I think for somebody who's a journalist in the social impact space, I mean, we learn all the time. We learn about this stuff. But I think brands have to work so much harder, especially if we're living in this trust economy at the moment. You've got to work so much harder to let the public know that in actual fact, you're not just buying a pizza. How do you guys now view the work you do in communities to elevate the status of the mind? Because I think it's important. I think a lot of us see the value of KFC, but we also know the value of Add Hope.
Yeah.
And I think KFC is one of the few brands that have been able to yes, we're a chicken brand, yes, we're a franchise, but in actual fact, a week ago at the CSI Legacy Awards, it was recognized as a winner.
Yeah.
It's raised R1 billion in the 2 rands plus matched funding. So it's R1 billion that KFC has been able to give back to communities. How important is it now for brands to step away, to almost walk this dual purpose of, yes, we sell chicken and yes, we sell pizzas, but we also give back and we also do well? How important does that now become as part of the strategy? Because the consumers care. They do care.
I was going to say that's one of the big things that we are seeing is that consumers are more likely to support the brands that they can see genuinely care. I think because a lot of people want to do good. Yes. And
I agree. There are more good people than bad people.
Exactly. So for them to be able to do good, if they think about it, they go, okay, if I support this brand that's doing good, they feel good. It
Yes.
almost feels like they have done
Their money's got
part.
purpose.
Exactly. And so that's why it's really important to have initiatives that really resonate with the consumers that you serve. Because, yes, we're in a world where it feels like it's give, and people just take. But how
But that's
are
actually
you?
not the case.
Exactly.
It just feels like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's important for us to elevate that story of we are giving back and your money has purpose.
Yeah. One of the other things that threw me yesterday, which I also didn't know about, so the project's been running since 2022. You've now impacted so many people, but you've been walking this journey with Yes for the last 3 years.
Yes.
That started 3 years ago. And obviously somebody decided, let's not tell the public, we'll keep it a good secret. But talk to me about that relationship, because that means then that I know we're talking through the LeadHERship program 109, but you've actually impacted so many more people through your partnership with Yes.
So the partnership with Yes did start 3 years ago. So in terms of the role that they play, they are able to find the relevant people that need to be part of the program, not only finding the people, but also placing the people. So they had already had a program that's already set up. And so we saw it as a fitting partnership to partner with them. But then Pizza Hut is taking it a step further in terms of elevating LeadHERship and giving the girls within the LeadHERship cohort a little bit more than just work experience.
And I love this one line yesterday. So one of the ladies, she talks about her own experience, and then she says, which I'll never forget, she says, "This is not a scam.
Yeah.
This works."
Yeah.
And I think that messaging for me resonated, and the reason I still remember it is because you guys as leaders in this space, we now have to start onboarding the public. We now have to. I know for a fact, and I'm not the only one, and I'm sure Mpilo as well, next time I drive past a Pizza Hut, I look at the brand differently.
Yeah.
Because I've now experienced firsthand, and I wish the public could too, experience firsthand the energy of yesterday, the impact of yesterday, the level of compassion you had for those young women yesterday. And it wasn't and I don't want to point out anybody, but it wasn't a talk down to anybody. It was meeting them on their level, able to understand what your challenges are. And sometimes what I think brands do is they come in ready-made with a solution, and so somehow sometimes it sounds like they're talking down to their beneficiaries, but it was really on an eye level. And I think that is important for the public to see, so that they next time they drive past a Pizza Hut, they see the brand differently.
I think, and this is the message that we always want to land when we are engaging with the ladies, that it's all about her. And we want to empower her. We want to inspire her. And so in doing that, that's why we had the Empower Her session, to build community so that we are learning from each other. It's almost like a candle doesn't lose its light from lighting up another candle. And so that was the intention.
That's
and
clever.
we want them to be empowered, and not, because the ladies that we select, it's not people that are looking for handouts. It's people that are looking for an opportunity to be able
Massive
to better
difference.
themselves.
Yeah.
100%. And so we're trying to meet them at that level. Yes, we are giving them a hand up. We're not giving them a handout.
Yeah. This is cohort 3, right?
This is cohort 3.
Wow. When you look at projects like this, and I wonder how you as the lead on this, how you reflect on the success of these projects. For the longest time, in the social impact space, we talked about, and I asked you this question yesterday as well. We talked about how do we make sure it stays sustainable, number one, but more importantly, how do we measure to make sure we are actually having real impact?
So in terms of having, I'll start with the real impact. With the real impact and how we measure that, ultimately it's two things. So the one is the battle that we're trying to fight now, which is about giving the ladies work experience. But beyond that, it's then how do they secure permanent employment for them to be able to assist not only themselves, as you had rightfully said, assist the families, because you find that the woman in the family is usually the one who is able to make the money stretch further, or let me say the resources rather stretch further. And they are the ones who play more of the nurturing role. And so that's essentially what we are trying to be able to achieve as we're using the employment as the vehicle for that. So in terms of measuring success, it's about how are we fighting that battle of they become experienced and therefore they become employed to be able to make an impact not only to themselves, but their families and the communities that they are in. Then in terms of how we would like to, or rather ensure that the program becomes sustainable, I think I had mentioned earlier today that our main organization had been very deliberate about when you are choosing the social impact, make sure that it is something that is a genuine issue.
Challenge, yeah.
And so because the unemployment rate in South Africa is so high.
Huge issue.
And again, we really drilled down. We didn't just pick something for the sake of picking it, or we thought this is topical, so let's go with this. And so in really going down to the root of what is the big concern that we can make a difference in, which was youth unemployment, but more so within females.
Yeah.
So for as long as that still is around, there really is room for this program.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do something that I know you can't, because you're humble.
Okay.
You're humble and you're a leader. We have to get our listeners to go into Pizza Hut, buy the pizzas. Obviously, you're having a good meal anyway. But my point is, every time you buy a pizza, it goes back into the community. It supports a young woman. It supports the other initiatives we're not even talking about. But I think that is very, very important. So go and buy a pizza today. Throw a Pizza Hut party this weekend and buy 1 million pizzas, because it actually impacts the environment, impacts the community. And that's how we get to do amazing stuff. That's how we get to build the South Africa that we all love. This is our home. We're not going anywhere. But by buying that Pizza Hut, by walking into a Pizza Hut, by going onto their website, by learning about their programs, you become an informed consumer. And once you're an informed consumer, you make informed choices and you vote with your wallet in the proper way. So I can say that you can't.
I wanted to add.
Say again?
I was going to say I wanted to add.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it also goes beyond the consumer. If there are any corporates that would also like to partner.
And they collaborate very well.
100%. So we're very open to that.
Well, we've got 288,000 listeners. The disposable income here is over 8.5 billion rand a month. So I'm sure there are corporates that are listening that would want to find out more. But all you've got to do is go to their website is
www.pizzahut.co.za.
And by the way, I love your pepperoni. It's not an endorsement of anything. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's the best pepperoni. I'm just saying I love your pepperoni.